Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be covering the week that was in pro wrestling. And honestly, what a week. Been absolutely nutty. So I am going to be covering WWE Monday Night Raw and NWA Power today. Just because I feel like it'd be easier. And then I'm going to be covering both Dynamite and Collision on Monday. And then Night of Champions on Tuesday. So stay tuned for both of those. I am not going to be covering SmackDown tonight because I am going out for a while. Hopefully you guys understand. I'm going to go see some old friends. So, yeah, that'll do it. Now, I'm going to go into my review, starting with Monday Night Raw. And we start out with the Paul Heyman family. WWE, for the love of God, just give these guys a name already. I'm tired of these fill-in names. Anyway. So, crowd sings Seth Rollins' song. Gets in the ring, gets on the mic, says, "You guys are sending me some mixed signals. Do you even know what you want?" Exactly. There's 1 minute you're chanting for Punk and for Roman. They get their own chants. Then, when I come out, you start singing my song. They start singing again. Seth continues, "It's obvious to me you have no idea what you want. So I don't care what you want. You need people like me to tell you what is good for you, and I'm going to try something. Even things you think you want is because of me. Roman is in this position because I turned on this shield. Punk is back in WWE because you chanted his name. Punk is back in WWE is cashing in on how much I hate him. And Cody, there's no second coming of Cody until I say so. I was the first World Heavyweight Champion. I was the first NXT Champion. I am past and the present, and this is the future of the WWE. And me and Heyman, we know things about revolutions. We deal with opposition with diplomacy until they push me too far." LA Knight stuck his nose in our business and got hurt for his troubles. In a bit, Braun has the same opportunity to do the same to Penta. And let me spell that out for you. There's a lot of people who believe they have what it takes to exist on the top. What they fail to understand, they are running a race for second place. This is the finish line, and I will always be Seth Rollins. Great promo by Seth. He is clearly the alpha in this story. We need something a bit more significant for the rest of the group. Like, you got Braun and Bronson Reed, two of the biggest, most athletic dudes WWE has. And they're essentially Seth's minions. Like, let's give them more of a personality. Let's give them some backstage segments together or something. Hell, let's have them go after the tag team titles. Like, give us something else with these guys. Speaking of something else, now we get Braun Breaker taking on Penta. And this was a crazy matchup. Like, I know they've had matches before, and it usually ends in DQ. This match was pretty freaking perfect. Like, they went tit for tat one another. Penta trying to use his speed and elusiveness. And Braun just honestly, he brute strength this matchup. And the finish is crazy. So Penta's going for pretty much a flying nothing. We'll call it what it is. Braun sees it, spears him in midair to pick up the win. Like, give us something here with Braun. Whether it's a solo act, a team with Bronson Reed, give us something. Then we see something interesting. With the Heyman family celebrating, you see Seth going up to Penta and saying, "You better stay down." So, yeah, that's definitely a feud I can get behind. Although with Penta now needing help, maybe it's time to get Rey Fenix over here. Reunite the Lucha Brothers. So then we get a little Liv Morgan injury update. Say she's going to be out for a couple months. Feel better soon, Liv. Miss ya. So then we are in Adam Pearce's office. He's talking to somebody about the tag division. I'm assuming it's Nick Aldis. Then AJ Styles walks in. Adam Pearce hangs up the phone, says, "I know you're in here to talk about the Judgment Day." AJ says, "Well, what about Dom and my match?" Adam Pearce reveals, he's not going to be able to compete. The match is off for one Night of Champions, which is a dang shame. But once he's ready to go, the match is yours. So AJ kind of walks off in a tiff. I'm a little disappointed by that because I would have liked to have seen that match. But more than likely, either Dom or AJ pulled out of the match because of what's going on in the Middle East right now. So, yeah, I can understand not really want to go. So AJ leaves. In walks the New Day and Grayson Waller, which is a very weird combination. No Austin Theory either. So it's revealed that the New Day are defending their tag team titles next week against Finn Balor and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day. So New Day give a little shock. What? No. So they walk off. Waller walks up to Adam Pearce, says, "So that's how you're going to treat my mates? Unbelievable." So we're replacing Big E in the New Day with Grayson Waller. I mean, it's fine, I guess. And then we get a sit-down interview, which took place before Raw, with Bill Goldberg. And what he pretty much says, "Did you expect anything less? I take my family to an event as a fan for Bad Blood. I was trying to have fun, but Gunther made me step into a verbal assault, and the level of disrespect he showed me is unbelievable. He embarrassed me in front of my hometown, my fans, and there was absolutely no way I'd let him get away with that. So I'm going to show how real Goldberg is. As I'm vying for my retirement match, Gunther put himself in that spot, and I'm going to make him pay. I'm going to beat the shit out of Gunther at Saturday night's main event." So, yeah, that was a very intense promo. Yeah, despite that, I'm still really not looking forward to this match. I hope it's like 5 seconds, Gunther beating. That's it. I don't need a long drawn out match. Just powerbomb, sleeper, done. So then we go back to the Judgment Day clubhouse. With Dom complaining, "Oh, I miss Liv. Where is she?" So Finn Balor pipes in and says, "You heard Liv last week. She didn't want us all moping around. We're going to show everyone what Judgment Day is all about. So chin up, we're good. We'll cross that we're all going to be crossing that bridge together. What do you say?" So then we have Raquel Rodriguez in saying, "Well, what about me and my tag titles?" She then kind of sees Roxanne Perez, kind of lunges at her. And Finn says, "That's the enforcer I know. Tonight you get your revenge on Rhea." So Raquel walks off. Then we sit on Dom for a minute, saying, "I still miss Liv, man. But tonight, good luck to you." So, yeah, that was a bit of an all over the place little segment, but the message definitely stays the same. So then we see Bayley. She's warming up in the back, getting ready for her match, when Lyra Valkyria walks in, and she is hot. Well, not like hot. Well, she's hot in body, but she's like seething. She's angry. She walks right up to Bayley, says, "I want to wish you good luck tonight. Well, you have my permission to win the title." Bayley turns around, pretty much says, "I didn't know I needed your permission to compete." So Lyra kind of gets a dour look on her face. Bayley sees this, says, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm a little focused on this match. But how about this? When I win the title, you get the first shot." And Lyra's like, "Okay." Kind of like a defeated little kid accepting their parents' terms. Which, I mean, come on, we've all done that. So next up, we got our last Queen of the Ring semi-final match. We got Jade Cargill of SmackDown taking on Roxanne Perez. And Perez does a little, I don't want to say shake and bake, but a little cat and mouse where she rolls out of the ring. Jade follows, gets back in. Eventually they do lock up, and Jade completely overpowers Roxanne, including doing some Steiner push-ups after tossing Roxanne across the ring. Roxanne does get back into this match using the environment around her. Roxanne attempts to lock in a sleeper after a power slam, but Jade powers out. Roxanne attempts a crossbody, gets caught. Jade with a fallaway slam. Jade with a choke slam for her two. Attempts Jaded. Roxanne blocks it a little awkwardly. Hits a roll up for a two. Jade whiffs on an axe kick. Roxanne with a super kick and a La Mystica into a knee drop for a 2 count. Jade with a powerbomb for a 1. But then she kind of gets Roxanne up a little awkwardly, hits Jaded for the win. So I'm going to say this. The chemistry was definitely a little off for this match. So it was definitely not their best. I do think down the line when we see them wrestle again, they'll have a bit more chemistry. But overall, I do think this is the right call. Then as Jade's celebrating up the ramp right next to the Queen of the Ring crown, out comes Asuka, the other half of the Queen of the Ring final, and they have a little stare down on the ramp. Honestly, that match should be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. We then get a recap of SmackDown, but it's mostly just the Cody main event. The King of the Ring main event for that night. So we'll see where that goes. Then we see Sheamus and the Alpha Academy in the back, where Sheamus is like, oh, I could totally see you guys winning the tag titles. Like, Natalya and Maxine Dupri haven't even had a tag match yet. Like, what are we doing here? And this is why it's a shame so many of these women got released in the recent round of cuts. Not nearly enough depth. Anyway, so Alpha Academy walk off. Rusev walks in. Has a little stare down to and Sheamus. So Rusev says, I've asked Nick Aldis for this match, Adam Pearce for this match. Sheamus then says, this isn't just a match I've fought in. I want the entire arena. Rusev says, I do too. Rusev continues, no more BS. It's time to show up or shut up. Actually, that was Sheamus, which was a great line. So, yeah, I'm ready to see that one-on-one match. I may do that on the Raw after Night of Champions. Maybe not so soon, but I'd like to see a bit more build-up for it. So, anyway, that was that. Then we go to the ring for a Gunther promo. A lot of talking this episode. So, Gunther gets in the ring, grabs a mic, says, last week was supposed to be my celebration, regaining my World Heavyweight title, but Goldberg came out and told me I was next. And I've thought about it, what that means to be next. A spear, a jackhammer, and looking up into the lights in a loss. Goldberg used to be the most destructive man in WWE, but it's not the 90s anymore. I'm on top. I've learned what Goldberg had to see. I have no change in how I think about him. Bill takes moments to apologize to his... I want to take a moment to apologize to your family for what I'm about to do to you at Saturday night's main event. I'm going to embarrass you again and put the myth of Bill Goldberg to rest. That may have been the greatest Gunther promo ever. Not saying he's had bad promos, but good lord, that was a good one. And Gunther, you better be a man of your word. You better just destroy Bill Goldberg. So anyway, we go to the back for a Becky Lynch interview, in which she starts, my thoughts on seeing on this match tonight. I saw Bayley and Lyra conspiring to... Then she cuts herself off and walks off. So, are we getting like a conspiracy theory, Becky Lynch? I'm not sure. So then the interviewer then kind of walks with the cameraman over to another room to interview Sami Zayn, which... I'm going to say this, I kind of like transitions like this. It kind of feels like what the NBA or the NHL would do with interviewing like coaches and other people like at halftime. So that's definitely really cool. So before Sami Zayn could get even a word out, in walks Karrion Kross, who gets a big cheer, which that's awesome. So Kross kind of sits down next to Sami, says, "Oh, that was quite a response. You had it. You had it won. And it was a great speech and all, but what happened? Exactly what I said would. And all this is it. You're never going to be a world heavyweight champion." So Sami Zayn kind of perks up, looks right at Kross, and says, "You're right. It's over for me." He then turns to Kross, belts him right in the mush, stands over him and says, "I'm done talking to you. Our match is made official." So we're getting Kross versus Sami. Interestingly, at Night of Champions, which makes me think something is going to happen in that match. I'm not sure what, but that should be interesting. So next up, our second match of the evening. So yeah, definitely not a very action-heavy episode, and I understand why. So we get, for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, you have Bayley taking on Becky Lynch. And early on, they're trying to throw haymakers at one another. They counter it pretty much evenly, with Becky trying for manhandle slams, Bayley blocking, Bayley trying for belly to belly, which is my favorite name for a move ever. Eventually she does hit it, but only gets a 2 count. Becky with a superplex, locks in an armbar, but Bayley maneuvers to get a roll up, only for a 2 count. Bayley then locks in the Boston Crab, which never see that get. That move is definitely rare these days. But Becky gets in the ropes. Becky then rolls to the outside, tosses Bayley into the announce table, then she does one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, but I kind of understand it. She takes a couple of the announcers' chairs, which are office chairs, in which those things aren't soft, takes a couple of the folding chairs from the ring bell position, and buries Bayley in them. Becky gets back in the ring. Who comes out to make the save? It's Lyra Valkyria. She helps Bayley up. Becky sees this, gets out of the ring, hits Lyra. Lyra then gets into Becky's face. Becky then uses the apron to knock out Bayley. Gets right back in. Becky gets back in. Lyra and Bayley then have a little discussion. Becky with a dive. Lyra pushes Bayley out of the way and eats the dive full force. So then Becky throws Bayley into the ring post. No, Bayley throws Becky into the ring post, into the barricade. Gets her back in the ring. Goes up for the elbow drop. But then Lyra gets in the ring and just starts beating the heck out of Becky on the ground. So your winner by disqualification is Becky Lynch. And we see Bayley and Lyra arguing while Becky escapes. So, loved the match. These two have some great chemistry together. I don't love the finish, but I can understand where they're going with this. I think at SummerSlam, we are going to see Bayley versus Becky versus Lyra for the Women's Intercontinental title. And I say that because SummerSlam is now 2 nights. So, that should definitely be interesting. Then we see Chad Gable and Ivy Nile in the back, with Gable kind of giving a backhand compliment to Ivy, saying, "Oh, you should have won the Queen of the Ring. I'm going to whip the Alpha Academy out of existence." Hold that thought. So Chad Gable walks off from Ivy, and then he sees a very defeated Penta. He's holding his gut. And Gable says, "I never want to laugh at the misfortune of others, but Braun should have finished the job." Penta then looks up at Chad Gable, hits Gable with a super kick, and then locks in the sacrifice, which is an arm snap, in which we see the rest of American Made come in and break it up. And then in the background, you can see someone we haven't seen on WWE TV in a while, Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig in American Made. Honestly, I can kind of see it. Anyway, so next up, we got a Raquel Rodriguez promo. She has both the women's tag team titles, saying, "Rhea, you're not going to get away with screwing me out of my chance at the Queen of the Ring and get away with it. So get out here and get the beating you deserve." Then it kind of takes a minute. And then another minute. Then a half minute. Then Rhea Ripley comes out. They brawl for a little bit. Rhea with a little bit of an awkward clothesline. They're fighting all over the arena at this point. Then Raquel throws Rhea over the barricade into the crowd. Raquel then grabs a table, of course, with the Slim Jim logo on it, which is frustrating. And as Raquel is getting it into the ring, we pan, see who's up on the announce table. It's Rhea Ripley, who hits a big old elbow drop off the table, tosses Raquel in the ring steps. Then Rhea gets in the ring, sets up the table, is about to hit the Riptide on Raquel, but then Roxanne Perez stops Rhea. Rhea with the electric chair driver to Roxanne. Then Raquel gets up, hits a Tiana bomb through the table on Rhea. And then we see Raquel and Roxanne. They kind of look at one another. Raquel helps Roxanne up, and they kind of have a very awkward embrace. So, yeah, that's definitely a bit odd, but it's interesting to see Roxanne kind of take the place of Liv. So we'll see how long Liv is going to be out for, and we're going to see kind of a repeat story, but I'm into it. Anyway, next we see Cody Rhodes. He is in Adam Pearce's office. Actually, no, he's not in Adam Pearce's office. We just kind of see him walking around in the back. Then we're in Adam Pearce's office. He's kind of on his phone. Then we see Rhea Ripley come in, go right up to Adam Pearce, say, "I want a match with Raquel Rodriguez." Adam says, "You got it." Rhea then kind of gets a little smirk on her face, says, "So it's been made official." Walks off. Adam Pearce says to himself, "Couldn't have said it better myself," which is a nice little moment Nice little character moment for both these two. We'll see what happens with Rhea and Raquel for Night of Champions. Then we get the most hyped video I've ever seen of the John Cena CM Punk feud going back years. Going back to 2011 Money in the Bank. Going back to even before that. So that was a really good hype video. Then we get a nice rundown of the Night of Champions card. And then we got our main event of the evening. And it's the King of the Ring, second King of the Ring semifinal match. As Jey Uso takes on Cody Rhodes. And as the bell rings, they share a handshake, that's a nice little detail there. And at first they trade submissions, like Jey Uso locking in a sleeper. That's honestly, I am so happy Jey Uso has included that in his moveset. Jey Uso then with a Samoan drop for a 2. Hits the hip attack. Then misses on the Uso splash. Cody gets his knees up. Cody then locks in the Kimura lock. Which, of course, that's Brock Lesnar's finisher. Jey eventually fights out. Locks in the sleeper of his own. Cody fades, but then he fights out. Dumps Jey Uso to the outside. Cody goes for a dive, but it's intercepted by an uppercut. Cody with a massive power slam. Attempts the crossroads, only gets a 2. Hits the Cody cutter for a 2 count. Misses on the disaster kick, in which Jey hits a big spear for a 2 count. Jey then sets up in the corner for a spear that gets blocked with a kick. Cody hits the Cody cutter for a 2 count. Goes for a crossroads, that gets blocked. Jey Uso hits a crossroads for a 2 count. Jey Uso with a couple of super kicks, a spear, and Uso splat. Goes for the Uso splash, but Cody gets up to the top rope, hits a superplex and a crossroads to pick up the win and move on to face Randy Orton at Night of Champions. So then post-match, as Cody Rhodes is celebrating, he sees Jey Uso. He checks on him. Cody then picks Jey up. They shake hands and then they embrace. But you could see the dejected look on Jey Uso's face. Which, I mean, fair. And then you see Cody release the embrace. Jey Uso is back to his old smiley self. And Cody Rhodes lifts the arm of Jey Uso to celebrate him. So definitely a very talkative episode of Monday Night Raw, which I don't really have a problem with it. It's the go-home show. You don't really want a ton of people wrestling, especially if they are booked for the pay-per-view. So it definitely feels like Raw is getting back on track. Is it perfect? No. Is it getting a whole lot better than it was? Absolutely. So we'll see what happens on the Raw after Night of Champions. But for now, yeah, I'm going to say that was a very entertaining episode of Raw. And now we move on to NWA Power, which doesn't start with that a workshop segment. Instead, we go backstage, and it looks like it's in one of the locker rooms for the women, we see Kylie Paige walking over to her sister Kenzie, sit down in one of the chairs saying, "You okay? You seem worried." Kenzie then turns to her, says, "Yeah, I'm worried. I have this big tag match coming up. I don't know how to feel." So Kylie says, "Let me give you ammo for this situation. You've been around forever. I'm your sister. Never in a million years have I come close to you. Plus, he's not my type." I guess talking about Idol? So Kenzie then says, "I'm sorry, I gotta bring this up one more time. Tell me you wouldn't hurt me that way." So Kylie takes a beat, then says, "I would never do anything to hurt you. Not in that way. So let's get focused." So, interesting inter-promotional, nice little family dynamic we got here. Which makes me think Kylie is going to turn on Kenzie at some point. And actually, speaking of Kenzie Paige, she and Big Mama, yes, that's her name, don't laugh, are defending their women's tag team titles against TVMA, which is Tiffany Nieves and Valentino Rossi, who is kind of new to NWA. This match was way too fast. It's okay, we got some basic stuff and we're done. It just kind of feels like this match kind of got stuck in first gear. Because Big Mama tags in, attempts a suplex on Rossi. Then Nieves comes in and aids with a roll-up for your winners and new women's tag team champions, TV and MA. And look, I'm just fine with roll-up victories. And this one was definitely different from the other roll-up victories I've seen this week. And trust me, I've seen a few. I feel like the NWA just does way too fast women's matches and tag matches. Let's give these guys some time to breathe and tell a narrative. So, then that's that. Then we see Carson Drake and the Slime Balls, and they're outside, walking whatever sidewalk. I don't even know where they are. So Drake says, "Here I am, the future NWA champion. Latimer, I'm taking this opportunity as seriously as anyone. I've watched every match you've had, and everyone seems tells me I'm the underdog. Well, I'm not. I've been here building strong communities around me, and it's just insulting. Makes me want to spit knowing you." And then it kind of cuts. Then we see the Slime Balls kind of screwing around in what I assume was Carson Drake's car. Then one of the Slime Balls says, "Look, we should pump the trunk." So trunk opens, and then we see them find a case. A very familiar orange case. So they open it. In it is the NWA World Heavyweight title. So then we see the Slime Balls freaking out over this. We see Carson Drake walk up. He sees it and says, "Oh, we're so cooked." He then puts it over his shoulder, celebrating like he's won the title. Then we see the two bar workers from the Southern Six bar walking up, and Carson Drake kind of hides it under his shirt jacket. So they walk off. Carson Drake then reveals it again, holds it, and kind of celebrates like he's won the title. So, stolen title story. I'm kind of into this. Like, I don't know. It's definitely been a while since we have had a serious, stolen title storyline. So, this kind of feels pretty darn cool. And, considering it's Carson Drake, it's definitely interesting because he has his shot coming up due to defending the television title so many times. So, anyway, next up, we got a very unexpected matchup, I'll say, as we see Mike Mondo taking on Zion. And, this match was really, really good. You got the technical skill of Zion. You got the absolute power of Mike Mondo, who isn't a slouch either. Like, dude can go. And they're countering each other's moves. At one point, we see Mike Mondo go for something off the top. Then we see Idol kind of shake the ropes. But that doesn't really affect Mondo, but he misses the splash that he was going for. So then both men are down. Idol then takes out his whistle, blows into it, and this brings out Frank. So apparently Frank is like a trained dog now. So Frank comes out. He barely gets out on the ramp when Mike Mondo hits gut check time for the win. So I guess Frank and Mondo are going to be having a little matchup sometime soon, which definitely all for. So that was definitely an entertaining matchup. I do wish there was a little bit more to it, but it is what it is for now. Well, then we see the Kazana boys in the back. So that's Joe, AJ, and KC. Joe's taking the lead on it for now, saying, I'm so sick of the Southern Six. I don't care which combination it is. I'm sick of these unworthy individuals. Southern Six, welcome to the heavyweight division. Welcome to hard times. And then they just walk off screen. Joe Kazana is one of the most underrated managers in wrestling today. And honestly, I love the Country Gentlemen too. They are a great team. Speaking of, we got our main event of the evening, as we got the Southern Six being represented by Kerry Morton and Alex Taylor, who has the junior heavyweight title, taking on AJ and Casey Kazana of the Country Gentlemen. Now, here's something that's a little interesting. Apparently, this is the first title defense for the U.S. Tag Team titles on Power proper, because they've kind of been transitioned into more territorial titles, which, that's fine. I'm all for stuff like that. But this is definitely a good occasion to have these tag team titles defended on Power, because this is actually a really intense rivalry. So this was a dang good match. AJ a little early on overpowering the Southern Six. Eventually they do take advantage with some quick tags and some really interesting spots. Eventually, KC does tag in, eats a body slam and a splash for a 2 count. Dueling roll-ups. Then Kerry was going to tag in for Alex Taylor, But Casey distracts the referee on the tag. So the ref didn't see the tag happen with the Southern Six. So he gets Kerry out of the ring, getting Alex Taylor back in the Country Gentleman's corner to be choked with the tag rope, which is something I haven't seen in a while. Eventually, Kerry Morton does get tagged in, hits the Country Gentleman with some elbows, some hip attacks, uppercut, big suplex. AJ blocks a suplex attempt. Eventually, Alex Taylor does get in. Southern Six with a 6-speed. AJ with a big spear. This brings Joe Kazana on the apron, who distracts Kerry. Kerry goes for a big strike on Joe, but Casey has a move lined up. Misses Kerry, hits Joe. Kerry then with a roll up for a 2. Kerry with a cross chop. Casey attempts a crossbody. That misses. Kerry with a roll up. And your winners and new United States Tag Team Champions, the Southern Six. And I think this is going to mess with the camaraderie of the Southern Six, because Thrillbilly Silas Mason wasn't involved. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, a very entertaining episode of NWA Power. Definitely wondering where we're going to go from here, because we got the Crockett Cup coming up. And then NWA 77, which is coming to my neck of the woods, which that's awesome. So definitely going to be an interesting couple weeks. Hopefully you look out for my reviews for next week. And until next time, happy wrestling.